Welcome to our Sailrite workbench. Today we're going to be showing you how to make a custom roller shade for your window. Sailrite offers complete roller shade kits that contain all the shade components from the roller to the mounting hardware. Fabric is sold separately, so all you need to do is select the fabric that best fits your home. When selecting a fabric for your roller shade, we recommend looking for a fabric that is wide enough to fit your window without seaming and preferably without hemming, as to not add any bulk, which will prevent the roller shade from rolling up straight. You can browse all our recommended fabrics in our roller shade fabric category. If you've already purchased a roller shade kit from us, you can pair this video with the included written instructions to get a better understanding of this project. First, we'll show you the tools and materials, and then we'll jump into the project. Before starting this project, there are a few important things that you'll need to do. First, you'll need to order your fabric. If you're deciding how much fabric to order for your project, we recommend measuring the height of your window and then adding 13 inches to get a rough estimate of the amount of fabric that you'll need for each window that you're going to be doing. Then you can check the fabric roll dimensions to calculate the width and if you can have multiple panels from 1 yard. Next, you'll need to decide on a few options for your roller shade. First, do you want a regular or reverse wind? A regular wind will sit closer to the window, and a reverse wind will sit further from the window. The second option is deciding if you want an inside or outside mount. An inside mount will be installed within the frame of your window, and an outside mount will be installed outside the frame of your window. Lastly, you'll have to decide which side you want the clutch on. For our window, we're going to be showing you how to do a reverse wind with an outside mount and the clutch on the right side. Again, these are all personal preferences, so there's no right or wrong option. The first step of this project is to measure each window that you're going to be making a roller shade for, even if they look similar, because sometimes similar windows can still have different measurements. So we're going to be doing an outside mount, which means we're going to be mounting it above our window frame. And to get this measurement, we're going to be measuring from above our window frame to where we want it to fall, and from the outside of our window frames from side to side. But if you're doing an inside mount, you're going to be measuring from jamb to jamb on the inside and from the top of the frame all the way to where you want it to fall. Now the next step of this project is to cut your fabric to size. Now it's really important to be working with perfectly straight cuts for this project because roller shades can be pretty tricky. If you don't have your cuts perfectly straight, your roller shade can wind up uneven and nobody wants that. So don't be afraid to double and triple check your measurements and markings. First, we need to make the end of our fabric straight. So we have our fabric on a cutting mat and we're going to be using our rotary cutter and acrylic ruler to do so. Now that we've ensured that we're going to be working from a straight edge, we're going to cut a strip of fabric that is 3/4 of an inch wide so that we can slide it into the bottom of our rail. Now that we've cut this piece of fabric out, we're going to set it to the side and use it later on in our project. Next, we're going to measure out the width of our windows that we measured. So for us, since we're working with a stripe pattern, we're going to want to take into consideration what stripes lie on the edges of our fabric. So we're going to get our window measurement out on our tape measure, and then from here, we're going to line it up with what stripes we want to be on the outside of our roller shade. So for us, I think that we're going to want to go right on the outside of this dark blue line and then right on the outside of this light blue line. Once you've measured out the width of your roller shade, we're going to use a marking tool to mark that width. We've already marked the width of our roll, so now we've rotated our fabric so that we can mark the height. Now the height is going to be what you measured plus 12 inches. This 12 inches will just account for the initial roll on your shade. So we're going to use our tape measure to measure that out. Now that we've marked this side of our fabric, we're gonna go to the other side and mark that side. Once you have both sides marked with height and width, you're gonna wanna make sure that you've double checked and triple checked these measurements. So we recommend taking some diagonal measurements just to make sure they line up, and then once you've checked that, then you can go ahead and cut out your fabric. Now that we have our fabric cut to size, we need to cut our aluminum tube to size as well. So we're gonna line it up with the edge of our fabric and we're gonna mark where we need to cut it. Once you have that marked lined up with the edge of your fabric, you can take that over to the side of your table and cut it with a hacksaw. We recommend wearing eye protection when you do so. We're gonna do the same thing with our bottom rail. So we've gone ahead and marked where we need to cut it, and then we'll bring it over to the side of our table and use our hacksaw to do so. Now that we've cut our roller tube down to size, you have the option of spray painting any of your hardware that you want to match your roller shade. So for us, we're not going to, but if you've already done that or you're not going to, we can move on to our third and final step, which is to assemble all our roller shade components. So for us, we're gonna put the tube on the end of our fabric. Now, if you're doing a reverse wind like us, you're gonna want the wrong side of the fabric facing up. If you're doing a regular wind, you're gonna want the right side of the material facing up. But for us, our material doesn't have a right or wrong side, so it doesn't matter, but keep that in mind if your fabric does. So we're gonna line our tube up with the edges of our fabric, and then you're gonna find a line that is just above the tape mark, and you're gonna line the edge of the fabric up with that. So once you have that roughly lined up, we're gonna peel the tape back and stick it into place. Once you've made sure that your fabric is firmly in place on the roll, we're gonna roll it up tightly. The next step of this project is to install our bottom rail. So I went ahead and laid out all the pieces that I'm gonna need for this. I have the strip that we cut off earlier, I have our bottom rail, and our blue plastic insert tape. I'm gonna start by sticking the blue plastic insert tape along the bottom edge of our fabric. Now, because I'm doing a reverse wind, I'm gonna have our roll laid out like I would look at it from the front of the window. So I'm gonna have the fabric coming over the top of the roll. Now, if you're doing a regular wind, you're gonna want it flipped around so that the roller shade will be coming under the roll. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. To reinforce this plastic insert tape, we're going to be stapling it into place as well, and you're going to want to place your staples in the middle of the tape. Now we're going to slide our bottom rail into place. We're gonna be sliding the bottom edge of our fabric into the bottom rail. So to do this, you're gonna wanna fold the blue plastic insert tape almost in an L shape to be able to slide it in there. We're gonna add our decorative piece to our rail. So we're gonna start by sliding it into the side. So you're gonna wanna leave about a 3 or 4 inch overhang. So I'm gonna cut it about here, and then I'm gonna wanna tuck it in to the little hole right here. Then I'm gonna grab our end cap and seal it up just like so. So we have our bottom rail fully installed. Now we're going to measure out the length of our ball chain. To get this measurement, take the height of your window and then multiply it by 1.6 to get your measurement. Now our ball chain is cut to size, and we're going to lay out our roller shade the way that it's going to be mounted. So I have our reverse wind, so it's going to be coming over the top, and we're going to take our piece over here and lay that down, and then we're going to thread the ball chain through it. Since we're going to mount our roller shade on the outside with the reverse wind, we're going to wrap our chain from the back side up through the front, and we're going to leave about 5 inches of overhang off the back. So we're going to lay it on its side, and then we're going to thread the bead through the bottom bar. There should be a double opening somewhere, so line that up with the corner. Then we're going to pull our chain up and then through the double opening and turn it until it's locked into place. Then once it's locked, we can pull the chain all the way around until it gets to the end. And then once it gets to the end, we'll thread it underneath the plastic piece and pull it. Once we've pulled the chain about 5 inches, then we're going to use our connector piece to connect it. So we're going to place one ball end onto each side and then close the flap. Once the ball chain is installed on the end cap, we're going to install the end caps onto our roller shade. So when you look inside the roller, you can see some fins that stick out. You're going to want to line those up with the fins on the end caps and then push really hard to get them into place. Then we're going to pull around our other end and do the same thing to the other end cap. Now that we've finished assembling our roller shade, we're ready to install it onto our wall. So the kit comes with 2 different wall mounts. One is narrower and one's a little bit wider. It's your preference which one you use. We're going to be using the one that's a little bit narrower, so we're going to set this to the side. We've gone ahead and measured and marked where our mounts will go. Now if you're doing an outside mount like we are, you're going to want to account for the hardware depth, which is going to be about 1.25 inches to the total length, or 5/8 inch to either side. As you can see, we've screwed in our mounts. Now we're ready to slide our roller shade into them. So you're going to start by taking this end, which has a little bit of a spring to it, sliding it into the mount, and then clicking this one into place. You might need 2 sets of hands for this, so I'm going to pull someone in to help me with this. You now have a fully functional roller shade. There's only 2 steps left to finish installing. You'll need to add stops to your ball chain as well as a hook to keep the ball chain in place. To install our ball stops, we're going to roll the roller shade up to the highest position that we want it to go. Then find and hold on to the first ball sticking out from this point. And then we're going to pull it down and install the ball stop. Now we're going to do the same thing for the down position as well. So we're going to roll it all the way to the lowest position, and then find that ball chain, pull it down, and attach a ball stop to it. This easily allows for precise movements of the roller shade. The last step of installation is to install the hold down clip. We're going to go ahead and slide our ball chain into the clip. We want to install this so that the chain is not super tight, but it's also not too loose where you can get it tangled on something. So we're going to try to line it up right in the middle. Then we're going to use 2 screws to screw it into place. And that's all there is to making your own custom roller shade. If you want to see our tools and materials that we use, we've linked them all in the description below, so make sure to check that out. And if you want to see more DIYs, how-tos, and product demos, make sure to subscribe to our channel so you'll never miss out on our videos. We'll see you guys next time.